That's the most since 2014. And they took Cleveland to a Game 7 in the first round of the playoffs. Victor Oladipo had a breakout season in 17-18, finishing in the top 10 in scoring and earning his first career All-Star appearance. But prolonged success for Indiana hinges on Oladipo's teammates, specifically big man Miles Turner and free agent Tyreke Evans. Can the Pacers contend for East supremacy, or are they merely a team that's just good enough to make the playoffs? We'll break it down. All for you next on the Indiana Pacers Team Preview Show. Hey everybody, welcome to the 10 Points Pacers Team Preview. 10 points over the next 30 minutes. That's what we're doing here. Allie LaForce alongside former NBA and Big Ten stars Steve Smith and Derek Harper. We're going to take a good look at the Pacers, and it brings us to our first question, which is, are they now, with the departure of LeBron James from the Cavaliers, a top 4 team in the East, guys?
I think so, Hart. I look at it, I'm really impressed with Nate McMillan has done, because watching him and the way he played, usually you coach the way you played. And he did that at the beginning of his career coaching. It was grinded out. It was defense. But I think he did a good job of opening up the basketball, being able to put guys in great positions. He opened up the floor. He had Oladipo had one of his best years. So I'm going to say, yeah, I have them third. Hart,
third?
Got them third. So I want to hear what you have to say now.
I don't have them third. And the reason why I don't is because I don't think they have a legit second scorer. I think it could fluctuate a lot of different ways when you start talking about, after Oladipo, who's going to get you buckets. My thing is that if you look at their team, the balance is good. They have 6 guys in double figures. You know, Bogdanovich was the second leading scorer last year, really had some great moments in the playoffs against Cleveland. But consistently, who's going to be the guy that puts the ball in the hole for you when you need buckets outside of Oladipo?
No, that was the problem in the postseason, was Oladipo really was carrying the load, which brings us to our second point. You know, we look at how he seemingly just wore down over the course of last season, especially in the second half. His offensive rating and shooting went down drastically. The fifth-year pro had the ball in his hand a lot. He was really carrying the load. He led the team in points, rebounds, assists, usage percentage, defensive rating. I mean, he really did the whole thing. So do the Pacers need to reduce his workload, or is it more about him just getting used to it?
See, I think he was new to the game. And what I mean by that is he's never carried a team before in his career. He's always had a support system around him. He's been the second, third scorer on a lot of teams. But when you look at what he had to do last year, I mean, they asked this guy to sell tickets, cook the popcorn. He had to do a lot of different things for his team to be successful. And just, when you have to carry that kind of a load and you're not accustomed to doing it, I could see you wearing down, especially playing against a team like Cleveland in the playoffs in the first round. If you remember, they played well against Cleveland. They gave Cleveland a scare, mainly because of the youngster Oladipo.
And I think, Harps, you said it best. I think he wore down because he didn't have that consistent second guy. And if we watch the playoffs, and especially with the Cleveland Cavaliers, they threw bodies at him. They trapped him off the pick and roll and made him give the basketball up. So I think for Nate McMillan, also Oladipo, it'd be great to see him off the ball a little bit more. But they got to have that second guy that Harp's saying to take the pressure off him. So I don't say so much it was him, of his play, is just the style of play and the defense he was going against. They weren't going to allow Victor Oladipo to beat them by themselves.
So we talked about a second consistent scorer. What about just having 5 guys that can actually handle the basketball? So you're not worried about getting it to him coming up the break every time or him starting the offense out. I mean, the league's going that way anyways.
Well, their bench guys do a good job of that. Corey Joseph, for one, Darren Collison. Steve, you talked about him a little bit earlier. I think they have the right mix, and I think Nate, I mean, you talked about Nate being a sensational coach, especially on the offensive end, freed those guys up to do what they do best as offensive players. They score a lot of easy baskets because of Collison, Corey Joseph, those guys' ability to get inside and make plays for other people. Thaddeus Young is a big part of what the Pacers are about, and they just have a lot of good players outside of Oladipo, not great outside of him.
I have another question, too, just from your personal experiences. It seems like Oladipo, 5 years in, now he's figured it all out. Maybe each year he figured out something new. But this season, the leadership really seems to be there. And going into the season with that mentality of, I am going to have a lot of minutes, and I am the man. So he flew the whole team to Miami. He wanted them to bond and play golf. He wanted the new guys to adjust. And he said, I don't want to look back and think I could have done more. Because he said last year there were moments that he thought that. Is that about the right amount of time for a star to feel really comfortable and be really hitting a stride in his game? About 5 years?
You know, it's different for different guys, and I think he just didn't have the opportunity. I thought he came out in Orlando where he was trying. I don't think he was ready then. He played well, but I really thought he got a chance to watch Russell Westbrook. He wasn't the guy. He had to learn how to play off Russell Westbrook, but I think more importantly, he felt comfortable. Nate, give him a lot of credit, put him in a position to be successful, and then he transformed his body. He was never out of shape, but he got in phenomenal shape to carry this load. And I think his confidence level, Harp, went to another level.
It did, but I think people equate leadership to the leading scorer. And that's just not the case. I think you have to learn to lead. And he's on the right track because I think trying to build continuity before the season actually starts for you as a basketball team is really huge. I worry about a lot of people on that team. I'm curious as to what they're going to get off their bench and some of the role players, what their roles are really going to be. But Oladipo, I think he's going to be fine. I think it was a learning experience for him to go through what he went through this past season.
Well, we have someone else we need to talk about, which brings us to point number 3. Last season, supposed to be the year that big man Myles Turner really had a breakout year, take the next step in his game, but his scoring, his rebounding, his shot blocking, it all went down. You know, he did make a lot more threes, but his free throw attempts were down from 2016 and 2017. Point number 3 is this the year that Myles Turner finally steps up, and can this team survive if he doesn't?
I say no, that they don't survive because I see Myles Turner. I watched him in Dallas quite a bit. He played high school ball down in Texas, and I saw a guy that was perfect for the NBA, the direction that the NBA is going, a stretch big. That's what it's all about. I don't know if it's touches in the right place, exactly what the issue is, but he has a tendency to go away sometime as an offensive weapon, and I don't think the Pacers are good enough if he's not going to average 16, 17 points a game and, 6 rebounds for your center. That's never a good thing.
No, you're not going to get it done, and I'm with you, Harp. I look at it, and like you said it best, Allie, first, your big got to be so aggressive. He got to get more free throw attempts because he has a great touch. That area has to go up for him. I think just overall aggressive, putting your mark on a game. And you know, Harp, sometimes your offense is not there. But can you make an impact without your jump shot going? Can you make an impact without your scoring going? And for a big, as old school and coaches say, you got to go down there and rebound the basketball. 6 is not going to get it for him. He's athletic. He's talented enough. I think he has to get that number close to double figures. And like Harp said, 16 or 17 points for the Indiana Pacers to take that next jump.
He has not matched what I expected him to be as a player yet. Still young. I think that's the other thing that you got to take in consideration. He's still growing. Takes some guys longer to figure it out than others when you talk about a guy like Myles Turner.
He's been doing a lot of yoga, so I'm going to go with the young
He has. He's got abs now and everything. Really transformed that body.
You think
I've been doing a lot.
Jump
I've been doing a lot of yoga too hard, but I don't have no abs.
Well, if you don't have it, you know I don't have it. Right?
Guys, I have one more question when it comes to Myles. You know, I looked up some of the numbers, and Coach McMillan said, I want Myles to play more with Sabonis than with Thaddeus Young. And that's something we really want to start transitioning to this season. But the numbers from last season, you know, they don't tell the same story. When he's with Sabonis, his numbers are way down compared to when he shares the court with Thaddeus. And I know a lot of other factors go into that. But the team also had a negative net rating when they were on the floor together. So how do you see him and Sabonis and that chemistry going in the lineup when they're together?
Well, you know, I think all great players is obviously there's better fits, Hart. But with his skill set, we see it. He can shoot the basketball. Sabonis can shoot the basketball. They can play with each other. It still comes down to whether with Thaddeus Young or not. No one's stopping you from rebounds but yourself. I mean, that's where I think Myles Turner, and I think he'll get it. I think he'll have a fantastic year playing with Sabonis or not. I think he understood. We talked about it in Summer League. I got a chance to interview him, that he's ready. And Harp, you said it best. He put on a little bit of muscle. He has those abs now. And I think just he was young, no excuse. But as you have more experience, I think he's a smart enough young man to turn around. I think he's going to have a great year.
In a lot of ways, they're the same kind of players. Both can stretch the floor. I think Sabonis obviously more physical in the paint and has more of a presence there. A lot of times when you get bigs on the floor at the same time, it bogs down the whole floor. The spacing is bad, and those guys are stretch bigs. So you just don't get the kind of rhythm shots that you're accustomed to when you're on the floor with two bigs a lot of times.
So I'm writing this down for him, for Myles Turner. Oh, my pen broke. Jumper, abs, perimeter defense, rebounding, and we got more for you after the break on how he can be better at the pick and pop. Smitty and D. Harper take the court
to break
it all down.
Abs for me.